So today I thought we would go through all of my LPS short hair cats, which I have quite a few, so this might be a long video. If I had to pick a favorite, this would probably be one of them. I just love her colors a lot. Even though they're pretty simple, I just really like her. This would also be a favorite just because I feel like there's not many boy short hair cats. Again, I don't know how I decide whether an LPS is a boy or a girl. It's really just a vibe. This one would also be a favorite just because I love how it looks like she has eyeliner around her eyes. I don't see many LPS with that as a feature. I really love how the eyes on this one stand out. They go really well with her gray colors. If I remember correctly, I believe this is one from the Monopoly sets. I would honestly have to check. This was one of the first LPS short hairs that I got, so she's kind of dirty because she's been around a while. I really like how this one has a flower on her head. It's a cute way to accessorize without actually having to put accessories on her. I feel like these two get confused a lot because they're virtually identical except for their eyes. I think I prefer the one with flower eyes more than the one with dot eyes. I'm not really sure why, kind of just a vibe. I'm not the biggest fan of the eyes on this one. I'm just not really a fan of when the eyes look spiky like that. It's just kind of a personal opinion. This was actually going to be a character in the series that I planned on making but never got around to making. Maybe I'll make it one day. We'll see. On one hand, I like the simple designs, but I feel like when the LPS is just one solid color, I feel like that's a little bit too simple of a design, if that makes any sense. I really love the eyes on this one. I feel like they just stand out a lot, especially because she's pure white. And I like the addition of the little pink nose. I'm not the biggest fan of the flower pattern around her eye. It just feels kind of unnatural to me. But again, that's just personal preference. Normally, I really like when there's an ombre pattern going on with LPS, but on this specific cat, I just don't feel like it was done right. This is a better example of like a good ombre pattern on an LPS, at least in my opinion. I feel like this one was done a lot better than the previous one. I'm not sure why, but I've always felt like this specific cat has like a giant forehead. I don't know if she's like scaled slightly differently than the other cats or what, or if it's just like an optical illusion. Again, I don't feel like there's many boy short hair cats, and again, I'm not sure what dictates whether an LPS is a boy or a girl. It's kind of just my personal opinion. I've never been a huge fan of when LPS have like bangs or like patterns that are meant to be hair. I just don't feel like it works very well. I feel like it looks kind of off. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of unnatural colors on LPS, but this is an example of good unnatural colors. Like, they just kind of flow together. I think it's because they're lighter shades of purple. This is a good comparison of I don't really feel like the unnatural colors work super well on this one, whereas they worked well on the other one. I've never been a huge fan of the glitter on LPS, just because I feel like it can come off really easily depending on how you store your LPS. I do like the pink accents on this one. I feel like they just fit really well. It's kind of hit or miss in my opinion whether unnatural colors or unnatural accent colors work or not. Again, whenever they try to do a hair-like pattern on LPS, I just don't feel like it works. I always feel like it looks kind of goofy, but that's just my opinion. This one feels a little too orange to me. I've also had this one a while, so she's kind of dirty. I feel like this one was always just like a little too yellow. I like the lighter yellow on her, but the main yellow is just a little too much. This is definitely one of my favorites. I just love her pattern and I love how her eyes stand out because of her pattern. This is another one of my favorites. I love how subtle her pattern is, like how it's almost the same yellow as her body, but just slightly different. I feel like this one should have had a couple more white markings on her instead of just like the streak down her face. I feel like it would have made more sense if she had like white paws or a white tail. Same thing with this one. I feel like the white marking is just kind of random because it's only in one spot. I'm not the biggest fan of the paint splatter. I'm not really sure why. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I kind of wish they made more like superhero style LPS other than just this one. I feel like it could have been a really cool collection if there were more of them. I feel like these two get confused a lot because they're basically identical except for their eyes. If I remember correctly, one of them comes in a puzzle. Both of these I've had for quite a long time. Most popularly recognized as Brooke from LPS Popular. You can kind of tell that I specifically kept one of them aside and used the other one for filming. I'm not the biggest fan of this one. I feel like all of her colors kind of just clash with each other, like they don't really fit. Again, that's just my personal opinion though. I'm not the biggest fan of these ones just because they tend to be a little top heavy and fall over pretty easily. So I don't really use them in filming that much. I do really like the pattern on this one though, especially with the green eyes. I feel like they match really well. But I just can't get over how top heavy these ones are. Like if I let go for a second, it's gonna fall over. So they're not really good for filming, at least in my opinion. There are a few that I don't have, so I'll include pictures of those at the end.